Oh, hello, and welcome back to Reality Realness, Quarantine Edition. I will be your host, Michael Pez, with
Chantel Francis.
And I'm Nick, the Isolation Rovers.
Wow. Cool. And this will be brought to you by Nickel 9 Distillery's hand sanitizer.
Hey. Tastes great. Tastes great.
Is it edible? I guess
it's not. It does not. It smells like apples, though. It doesn't, though. I'm just joking.
Happy birthday to you. Just kidding.
It's been a week in isolation, and now we kind of know what the Big Brother people feel like, in a way. And we all feel the same way. We're enjoying it, sort of.
I love it. Like, I love doing things online. I love playing games. I love not having to leave my house. I love not working.
Yeah, am I 39 and retired? Yes, I am.
I love that life. It's a good life. I'm actually right now thinking, I'm like, okay, what can I do with this time that I'm off to ensure that I never have to go back to doing something that I hate?
This podcast.
Hey, if something comes of this, and hey, Global TV, if you want to hire us three to be to correspond, talk about reality TV.
I mean, I have nothing in my plans right now.
I'll wash my hands, I promise.
Yeah. I volunteer as tribute.
So
pretty uneventful week in the house. I think we can gloss over most things.
Oh, shit. Shit disturber. Pretty much the biggest week I'd have to say that has happened, I think, in Big Brother history, to be honest. We're kind of going into week 4 and only one person has left the game in the traditional fashion, with people voting him out and him campaigning. There's only one normal week. This is, as Arissa loves to say, unprecedented.
Unprecedented.
Shaking unprecedented.
Okay, obviously Nico, we already kind of got over that. And then, Michael,
He tried.
But I think it's been pretty interesting how this whole week has happened, and we haven't really talked about it on the show. I kind of have a lot of insight as to what's been going on because I watch the live feeds and I read the Twitter boards and I listen to podcasts, and so I'm a little bit more of an addict in the sense of needing to know what's going on. But what do you guys think has happened so far, this week, and what do you think about how Global has dealt with it?
Personally, a lot of people have come to me and sent me private messages and said, what happened to Jamar and what happened to Kyle, and why did they, and I'm like, honestly, Global TV, as much as harsh as some of the comments might have been said in the house and all of that, it should have been shown. If it's recorded 24/7, it needs to be shown. Because honestly, my mom's what was said? Why did they say this? And what is the whole thing? And I don't understand why they wouldn't show some of that stuff.
Have you since then seen the footage, or no? Are you still?
No, I haven't.
You haven't? Okay, good. Interesting. So I've seen the footage. Nick, you've seen the footage now.
I've seen it secondhand through you, and I watched the episode, Thursday's episode, and I was like, what the hell was all this? And then you sent me links, Chantal, you sent me things that I could see it, and I was like, okay, but I still didn't feel like it was the full story, especially with all the reasons they said they had for Kyle. Demonstrate some of those too. I think they honestly, we talked about this, and it's the sponsors that kind of are muting, I think, a lot of the transparency that we've seen in past seasons, or just what we expect from a house full of cameras. They're kind of muting it down so we can't see it, and I think production just wants it to go away. I think they've done it. They don't want to show anymore. They just make Arissa kind of explain it and be like, okay, moving on, everyone, let's do better. So that's why I think we're not seeing it, is because it's intentionally not being shown to us, because it's not the same Big Brother that it was on an Evil Dick season, or seasons where they show the stuff being I could put a knife to your throat, or things like that. They've explained every expulsion quite visually, as well as Julie talking about it and being distraught when she's talking about it. But these ones, these two, they didn't really show it, but Thank you for showing me that Twitter stuff because now I have more context.
Can you send me that Twitter stuff afterwards? Because I would really like to see that.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, sorry?
Let's talk about it. Like, I like to, explain it to me.
There's a few things that have been happening that kind of leading me up to it. Like in that particular episode, I felt like it was like, because I knew what was going on, it was like, I felt like I was watching a Shakespeare tragedy. Like I was like, oh my God, everybody dies at the end. Like I know what's happening. It's how it's just like piecing it all together. And I'm like, I know he don't stay. I know he doesn't stay. Like, anyways, it was just like, I felt it was actually it was very interesting knowing what the outcome was going to be when watching the episode. How it started. It had this kind of somber beginning to it with Marissa in the background, no music. And it was like, wow, this is like, I thought it was very dramatic, quite well done from someone that knew what happened.
They fit the vibe really well.
It kind of started with, there was a few comments, like you saw the comment that Angie had said to, or that Angie was talking about how Carol had made that offside comment to Jamar. So you saw that on the episode.
Yeah.
That was kind of one of the things that happened a little bit before. What was not shown was that Min also went to Carol and told her that, oh yeah, Angie thinks that you're a racist, and that, you know, that you, like, and Min was kind of agreeing with Carol, being like, oh, I know you're not a racist. Like, Angie's just like, whatever, that type of person. She's saying all these things about you, but like, I know you didn't mean anything by it. It was okay, whatever. And that's when Carol goes and she goes and half apologizes to Jamar. So that was kind of one incident that Jamar kind of had to, like, you know, not say anything, keep his cool, like not want to blow up about something so kind of small or insignificant. Another clip that I was trying to find, but I couldn't find it, I was trying to get it to show it to you guys for today, was there was also one of Sheldon talking, I believe it was with Kyle in the HRH room, being like, yeah, Jamar's a loose cannon, like we should just like get him really angry so that he will blow and maybe he will hit somebody and be expelled. So there was also that mentality between him, I believe Kyle, maybe Chris as well, I'm not sure, where it was an intention of them, maybe if it wasn't in the forefront, that they wanted to instigate him maybe getting to an aggressive state where he might do something that would get him expelled. So then that happened. Obviously there's probably other little things that Kyle did and was saying throughout the week before. But then when Min calls the house meeting, she was saying, I watched another angle of the house meeting, and she was saying to Jamar, like, no, just cool. Just remember we were talking about it, Nick, that like, why didn't Min kind of stop it?
Yeah.
He was kind of saying like, shh. So Mike, what was said, this is paraphrased, was, so Kyle was kind of egging Jamar on a little bit, same with Vanessa, both saying to him that like, oh, you know, you got played, and like Jamar was like, I feel like I got played and like I'm not allowed to talk. And so Jamar says, your muscles don't mean anything inside the game or outside of the game, only to just get popped. Something to that effect. And he's kind of like, only to just get popped. Like,
well, he even stopped. He was like, and he like held back his word, and then he kind of, I don't know, it seemed like he edited his speech while it was happening as well.
Yeah, and that's generally where I kind of felt like that's where the comment went. Like I knew that that's what happened.
I didn't see this this view, but apparently Kyle says blow or bomb or something like that beforehand, so he even anticipated this kind of phrasing or whatever. And you saw also, or no, you didn't see it, but also then right after, Kyle is like, oh, you can get expelled for saying stuff like that. And then Jamar was coming back like, I didn't say anything, I didn't do anything. They always make videos of people like pulling guns and putting the gunshot guns in when people are like pow 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 pow. He's
Aaron,
like,
for example,
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
And so that was pretty much the end of the house meeting. And then Jamar gets taken to the head of household, or the diary room. It was, I think it was out, the feeds were out for about 8 hours. And then when the feeds came back, he was gone. So that's kind of how it happened. I don't know if when he went into the diary room, he said, I'm not apologizing, and maybe he was being like not agreeable. I'm not sure what happened in there. So maybe those are the things that maybe Arissa was saying that happened that we didn't see.
Yes.
But from what I saw personally, that was something that would be warranting a warning. I don't think that he was like, I'm going to get my boys to come and kill you. I don't feel like he was that kind of
No.
girl.
I don't know.
It was a young guy saying something stupid after being riled up, being embarrassed, being, you know, shamed and provoked with other people that are white people also that are older than him. And I think that he just got caught in the trap, to be honest. And then I don't know if you saw what happened after, Mike, is that people, like some of the Twitter fans and like Big Brother fans that were supporting Jamar started a GoFundMe for him.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hashtag I stand with Jamar. We donated, by the way. And so I think that with that being like, oh my God, people are so against this move. Oh my God, it looks so bad. I think then they had to go back and started looking like, okay, what did Kyle do here? Because people were like, oh, Kyle, they were antagonizing him. Like, and so they started looking at some of the things that he did. He did make some comments about violence to Jamar, not to Jamar's face, but like to JL particularly. And I think that they're like, the only thing that we can do right now to rectify this is let's evict Kyle to hopefully make things better and make it go away, as Nick was saying.
Yeah, being like, why only make one of the two guilty if they're assigning guilt to this behavior? Why make only one of the two guilty parties be punished when both have said things? One was just a bit more maybe in public, but both were filmed on camera. So the one other part that you showed me and the things you sent me of Chantel is that when after this all happened, it just kind of cuts to it. I don't know the context of how they got there, but it shows Jamar standing in the middle of the circle of the house meeting, talking to Vanessa. Vanessa's kind of like on the couch with her legs drawn in, and Angie's beside her, and she's like, yeah, okay, but like she's telling you this, and then he's like, yeah, I feel uncomfortable. And then Jamar's like, oh, well, like, I'm sorry, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. I hope you don't feel like unsafe around me. And he was kind of like standing above her on a couch, not near her, but not far from her.
Social distanced.
Yeah. Still being like, oh, well, I hope you're not scared of me. Like, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to do damage to you. I hope you know I'm not going to hurt you or anything. And then she's like, I just feel uncomfortable. Yeah, I just feel uncomfortable in all this. And she kept saying, I feel uncomfortable over and over again. And part of it is like, oh, wow, this looks like a person who's going through being uncomfortable. I feel bad for her. But like you and I talked about, Chantel, as well, is like if Kyle made this plan with X or Y about trying to get him riled up and like trap him with knowing he's a loose cannon, I'm sure Vanessa was in on that too. So she probably knew what role she could play to further make this bigger than it was and essentially gaslight him in this way. And gaslight him in the producer's eyes. Like, so there's a lot of things at play here, which I don't agree it was enough to get him expelled. I think the behavior all around it was maybe like, oh, someone in the house feels uncomfortable. Now it becomes an issue. Whereas if Vanessa said nothing, it would have been fine, maybe. So I think it was all a big ploy from what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm. And also people were saying to Jamar for the weeks like leading up to it, was like, oh, like, why are you yelling? And he's like, I'm not yelling. Like, you know, and just like, so his normal demeanor, he kept on having to be editing all the time because people were like saying that he's being aggressive, saying that he's like, you know, like making them uncomfortable for things that he wasn't. He's like, I'm just being myself. And like, I do think that it was also a buildup of people already deciding that he is explosive and, you know, he's dangerous and he's might hit you or whatever they're thinking, but they're saying to him things that like to basically edit and make himself smaller and like not be as himself. I think that also was going to be playing into the fact that he was going to blow up. And I didn't even think his blow up was that bad. Like, I've definitely seen in the house many times where people got a lot more loud, lot more scary, when they're like, okay, you go in this room, you go in this room, you go in this room, when they separate people and like tell them like, everybody cool out. Are you going to cool down? Or, you know what I mean? Like, what happened to that? What happened to them stopping everything, having a house meeting, taking people aside into the diary room, talking about the situation and seeing if they're able to come back? I don't know where that is.
That's what the show is.
It's the sponsors. That's what we talked about. It's the sponsors. I'm sure there's, in all of those production meetings, I bet you there is a rep from Wendy's, there's a rep from there, and they all are talking. If it took 8 hours, they could have got them on the phone and had phone calls. And I'm sure someone out there who's not part of Big Brother was like, oh, I don't know, I don't want this. If this is going to be the show, we're on Global now. It's on primetime TV. Kids are going to be like, oh, we can't have this. Boom. Whereas any other season of Big Brother, especially not Big Brother Canada, like in all those racist comments on season 15, and no one got expelled for that. And they showed all the hate that was being spewed, and they put it on TV with just a little disclaimer at the front of the episode. That, if anything, it's like, okay, we're just going to not take racism seriously and just let it happen and unfold for drama. But this, we're going to, I know they have rules and guidelines in their contracts, and there are some non-negotiables. I just, like you said, I think it could have just been a warning and been like, hey, Jamar, do you not think maybe people are trying to get you to be this way? Be better than them. Be better than them. Like any teacher would coach a kid about not hitting another kid. Like, just, you're bigger than this. You're better than this. You're on this show. And like, they could have, I think, reasoned with him. And I don't know what happened in the VR.
For this being a social experiment, like, we should be able to see the repercussion of this type of dynamic with people doing this. Like, I would love to see, like, what happens. Like, oh my God, like, this can happen. This man can gaslight this young kid, and this is what the outcome could be. Like, people don't really know what happened to either prevent it or learn from it. And so part of what I love about Big Brother is, oh my God, I would never expect that dynamic together. Like, wow, look what happened, and look how people either came together, became best friends, like saw each other in new lights. Like, that's what I really get excited about, the social dynamics of the show, is like seeing people that would never work to be together. And so the fact they just like cut this just because it was maybe a negative perspective of these two, this dynamic, I was really frustrated. And just to mention, like, I think the difference between Big Brother US, another podcaster mentioned this, and I think it's really truthful, is that the live feeders pay for the live feeds in the States. So therefore, they can give the live feeders what they want, is everything. They don't cut the feeds ever. They let them see everything because they're paying their money to do it, and they want to give them what they want. We don't have that same luxury because the feeds just become part of the show, and it's actually, I think, it's the sponsors' feeds, to be fair.
Gotcha. Yeah.
What you had to say?
If I could just say one more thing about my point quickly, is do I think Jamar is completely innocent and he's a victim and all this? No, he's read the contract. He's been warned. They probably went over a list of non-negotiables when they went into the house. They know what kind of things result in expulsion or at least serious warnings. And he did one of those things. Whether it was direct, it was offhanded, I think we all knew what he was trying to say, whether he said it violently or with like direct like threat in the words. I don't think so. But at the same time, just he could have collected himself a bit more and not given in. Like, think about all the people that didn't give in to, I'll bring it back to Evil Dick again. He was tormenting these people. And like Zach, of all people from that season, I just watched a lot of videos recently. Like, he put up with so much shit and would have been warranted of just punching him in the face. And he didn't. And he held his cool because he knows he's playing a game. And he also was about 10 years older than Jamar. So I think it comes with age. But
just to piggyback on that, though, I'm not sure what he listens to, but I'm just thinking of an example in my head. I was playing yesterday on Jackbox. We're doing these rap battles.
Okay.
And in the rap battles, there, people were dissing one another. And I could see, if he uses this as his way of a retort, that he thought he was being maybe more of a rapper and a battle retort as opposed to an actual threat.
Right.
Just because I was just listening to it, I was like, oh my God, like if someone said da 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 da, gonna get popped, like, you know what I mean? Like, not to say that he should have said it, but I can see how he could 100% feel as though what he was saying wasn't directly malicious and not directly an attack and a threat on Kyle outside the house. So I agree, but I can definitely see how someone a little bit younger might not realize the repercussion of how he phrased that sentence.
Cool. Yeah, and I also, what I will say is I was feeling Jamar. If Jamar ever watches this, I was feeling him. Honestly, he was my favorite this whole season. Him and Min were like absolutely my favorite. I watched him and Michael do their live Instagram chat, which was amazing. It was their first time chatting on Instagram Live, and it was just like, and he was like, and he made that a Victor's, and he made like, and he's like, and they were feeling me, and they started like this bromance, and honestly, I love Jamar with all my heart. Now, Ika did this whole video on YouTube. You gotta check it out, and it's all of her opinion on what happened with Jamar, and it is raw. What she says is amazing. I'm not gonna like go word for word of what she says because I don't want to ever get any of her words twisted, heaven forbid. But just saying, like, Ika hit it right on hit the nail on the head. You know, like there's a lot of times where a lot of people feel a lot of uncomfortability around certain races or any certain I can't even speak on behalf of this, but there's a lot of times where Ika says a lot of times a lot of Black folk feel uncomfortable around a lot of white folk. And that's the whole thing that she was trying to say. And like maybe Jamar was feeling uncomfortable and he was provoked, just like how you guys were talking about. So I really think that everybody should go and watch Ika's
it's very good
video. It's very good. It's very well spoken. And I think that she's a great lady.
And both her and Andrew from season 6, they talk on Rob as a podcast. I might have sent you guys the link, maybe. Anyways, and so yeah, she does have her say her opinion there as well as what the situation is going down. And so, like, agreeing with Ika in that regard is that, you know, with people of color not really actually even being allowed to mention that they feel uncomfortable without people saying like, oh, you're pulling the race card. It's like you always have to worry about whether or not your feelings are going to be considered valid to the other just because you're of color already. And so it becomes a very, 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 very dangerous road that you like have to kind of tippy toe around, because you're like, okay, I can't fully be upset about this because I don't want them to think that I'm pulling the race card because it's not that big of a deal. But, you know, it does affect me. It does hurt me. I don't think it should be said. And so I can see how that could be really problematic for Jamar as well, being like, I can't fully be able to express myself without being considered doing this or being like that. And I feel for him, for sure. I'm feeling ya.
I think as we've seen though, I don't think that it's out of negativity or they want to see this happening, but like based on their behavior, I think Big Brother is okay with a little racism in the house. Mm-hmm. They're not okay with violence, and that's always been a thing that they expel over. And the main question is do we deem what Jamar did, his behavior, as violence? Because I think Carol should have gotten a hard warning and some repercussion for what she said, because it was insensitive and stupid. And she almost, like, when I was watching her apology, I was like, okay, yeah, hit it home, make me believe it. No, it was horrible. And I was hoping she would get that right. And the fact that she didn't, I'm like, oh, maybe I don't think she's racist, but I think she's also very not socially aware, or very.
She's not very socially aware of anything.
Yeah. So, and the fact that even I was saying this, she, in her intro video, she was like, I'm not going to, or I work with disabled people. I'm gay. I'm this. I'm that. All these things. I can make any joke I want. And, like, she kind of warned us she was going to be a twat about it. So, like, I don't know if this was part of her strategy or what, but maybe she was being real, and Big Brother kind of had their warnings right there.
Well, do you want to get on the subject of Carol now?
Well, I mean, since we're just talking about my entire terrible, terrible, terrible team, starting with Nico, and Michael, now Jamar, like, he was like, Andrew was like, maybe we'll give Chantel Jamar so that she'll have somebody left on her team. Like, oh, you guys don't know who on the pocket. Like,
I do.
I don't. Like, the spoilers. Viewers don't want them either. I speak on their behalf.
Sorry?
I speak on our viewers' behalf. No spoilers.
Yeah, no problem. But then Min being like on the block, like ready to go, like against Rianne, and she nearly went unless if we didn't have the reset. Like,
your team.
Carol threatening to quit. Like, I know you guys have an opinion about this, so give it to me, Michael.
I don't know. Okay. You know what? Listen, Carol. I don't know what you signed up for. I don't know what you thought this show was going to be all about. And as somebody who is representing the one kidney gay card, you basically have stolen my role in this whole thing. But I will say, how dare you? How fucking dare you? Like, I watched this one girl. She's doing a podcast. She's blonde, had slick back hair, and she's doing this podcast. And she is like, I've been trying for years after years. I'm trying to get on this show. And this person is going to, all these people are just going to quit and give up their roles. And like, they're just like, where do they find these people? Like, where did do they not know what they were signing up for? But what I saw from Carol, she's like, F production, F this. If I get HOH, I told them that I'm going to put myself up. And I'm like, and this is coming after Jamar and Kyle have left. And I'm like, are you kidding me? just.
And then hangs on, falls first in the sleeping bag. If I get HOH,
all right. I don't even know. It's fascinating television. I'm not going to say it's great television. I'm just going to say the fact is that everyone is, and the fact is like, we're looking at like the whole COVID-19 thing and we're listening to that whole thing. If that was a reason why you were quitting the game, I'm worried about my family and I want to quit because of that, blah, 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 I totally understand. But the fact is you're just going to quit because, I hate it here, and blah, blah, blah.
Keto.
Oh, yeah, keto. Yeah, what keto diet?
Keto and her bad back. Okay, someone typed this out, so I'll just try to read it quickly, but I didn't write this. I just copied it from somebody transcribing a conversation. So this is between Carol and Kyle. I don't really care anymore. Like I said, dude, if you're done, you're done. So this is Kyle like actually kind of like allowing her to go.
We can tell by your doodly voice.
It's a very doodly.
You're like, yeah.
Wait, I thought that was Carol you were doing.
I'm in a great social situation and I can make it to jury. I don't think I can win the game. I don't think I can take part in the last challenges where it's endurance and running and puzzles. I don't think I have a chance. That's not me being down on myself. That's me knowing myself and what my body is capable of at this point. Therefore, I'm just wasting time. Kyle, just be honest with you. If I win, I need to get that guy gone. So he's talking about Hira. Carol's like, I know, I can't even get voted out of here if I wanted to because nobody is threatened by me. Kyle, if he wasn't here, I would help you out with that. Carol, I know that's fine. I legitimately would put myself on the block it would be hilarious if I won head of household. Kyle, can you do that? Carol, I don't know. I would try. Carol, everyone in my life thought it was nuts for me to come here as it is. They're not going to hold it against me. Kyle, everyone thinks we're nuts for being here. Carol, you cannot fathom what it's like until you've been here. All I wanted to prove was if you're old, if you're big, you could still make it here, and I've already proved that. I would have at least doubled my followers. That's all I really care about. I got a thriving business outside this house.
For now. What's your business? I hope it's not a restaurant.
Everyone, Chantel's an actor. If you need to hire her, book her. That was a beautiful display.
Beautiful.
Well done.
She can play a large lesbian lady and play a long-haired man. Right.
Oh man.
See him? Can you see them? Can you see them?
Yeah.
I was reading that and just.
That's why, Chantel, I hate them both.
Well, maybe I should start a new link of me just playing out the actions of the house guests.
Okay, yeah. Did we all come back and we all pretend that we were somebody from that week? Can I play Brooke?
Nick, thoughts?
The main thing in all of that is like, I've just proved I can get here, whatever. She might be going through whatever, but it's I can double my followers. It just further proved to me that I've been trying to get on. I'm like, they're not going to take me because I don't post on Instagram every day. I don't tag a million things, and I'm not this marketable product of a human, and she probably got on because she cares about followers and all this stuff. And I'm just like, I'm just over it, and I want them to cast people who want to play this game. I always make this comparison to my friends or you guys, even if I have. But like I would never be cast to go play in the NBA. I didn't go and like train and all this stuff to be in the NBA, but I've done that for Big Brother. Why are you taking people who look like they belong in Big Brother, but they have no idea what this game? There is a certain mindset and training and honesty with yourself you have to get into this game. And she's just squeaked through the cracks. Or like even someone like you mentioned, a Mackie, like no idea how to play the game. Oh, look at this goofy guy. Let's put him on TV. Canada will love that. No, let's watch people play a game. I'm not going to buy tickets to a Raptors game to go watch a bunch of people who think they pretend to know how to play basketball dribble around on a court.
They've watched a couple seasons.
Oh, it just enrages me.
Yeah.
I want to see pros diving in and bloodbathing inside of a house with cameras, with challenges that are made for them. Not like, I'm going to throw this. This is hard. I don't know. We hate quitters, and this is end of my rant. I talked about sports a lot, which is something I never do, by the way. That was weird.
You're so sporty.
It's attractive. It's attractive.
Okay, so how do you think, like, okay, I'll always watch Big Brother. I love Big Brother. I know you guys too, like also do. I know we all would love to be a part of the show and part of the legacy of Big Brother. But what do you think could be done to improve this season? Like, what?
I think the fact that they said, okay, guys, we're going to reset. Sheldon, you get to play HOH again. I think the fact that they're able to say, okay, moving forward, you're going to play a regular season. Now, how many people have left? 4. There's still 12 left. Okay? That's still a good, decent season. It's 12 people. Okay? I think the first season was only 12. So let's move forward. Now, I know spoilers and stuff like that, and I'm not going to take it from there. But so, Nick, I'm going to throw that to you. Where do you think we can go with this season?
I like how Aaron, I don't know, and that's what I love about the show. I like seeing what the producers put forward for me, because if not, I feel like why would we even watch the episodes? So I like the episodes. But with this, with this season, I do like how Aaron was like, we have to do better. I think that was also the fans want better, but also stop ruining my show. Like I think that's what you're saying. I think a lot of good house guests got put into a bad season so far, with some other bad house guests that are just like lame. And I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm saying as far as their reputation in the Big Brother house, they're pretty lame. So the ones that are good, that I want to see fight and play, are still there. I want to see Min. I want to see Sheldon. I want to see Rianne. I want to see Maddie. I want to see these people battling and strategizing. And a lot of other people need to wake up. I think this season can play out as normal. I think that kind of did shake the house. They booted 2 people in 1 week just because of the way what they're saying and how they're behaving. I think everyone will be like, let's remember we all have lives outside of here, even if those are all going to shit because of COVID. Let's just take this as the gift that it is. Because when she was saying that, I was like, it is a gift. Like in my head, I'm like,
oh, I know, I got teary-eyed.
It's the thing I want most in my life, to get on this thing, get on Big Brother, and they're just treating it like a stepping stone on a thing. Like, no, this is the end goal for me. I've told that to people who work on the show. This is my goal in life, and I got made fun of for it by them, which is funny to me. But like, I
can be made fun of by us because we have the same dream.
I know.
You're here with us, Nick. We appreciate you and we accept you.
Oh, thanks. No, they joked about it. They didn't make me feel shitty about it. They joked about it. He was like, "Oh, aim higher, kid," or something like that. But either way, I think the people that are left, for the most part, except for obviously Carol, are mostly there to play. And I want to see Kira's story. I want to see these people's stories. So I don't think the season needs much salvaging. I think everyone in the house just needs an attitude check, and I think they got it. So I'm hopeful. Again, you guys know stuff and maybe have more of a sour opinion.
I think there's going to be an asterisk on like the winners win because of all like the, the quits and the expulsion. Do you think it would be still deemed as like?
I think, like Pez said, some seasons start at 12. The amount of starting people doesn't really matter to me if you were able to get through the end game of Big Brother, which I find is is really exciting to me, just to see like when the power is what you need, those do or die competitions. I hate seeing people like, oh, well, it's these 6 people left up on the block of ice. I'll just step down because I know I'm safe with all of them. Like, that's an easy way to play, and you need to play that way, especially in the early game. But I love when people crank up their game and like just Janelle their way to the end. Like, I love seeing that more than the early game. That's why I said there's 2 strategies to play this game: the early game one and the one where you move on and you hope you made those connections. What was I going to say quickly? Oh, I do feel that this reset was not fair. I think it was stupid, and I think they should have still went through with an eviction or just gave Sheldon head of household again. He exposed so many of his cards, threw everything out on the table, put up 3 people, and they're all still in the house. Like, that's such a bad thing for him. He even was like, this is the perfect week to get HOH through not much fault of his own, unless he was the one trying to trap Jamar with all his comments too. But through no real fault of his own, he got a raw deal. 3 of his enemies now are still in the house, and he has no power. They let him play in this next HOH, but I just don't think that was enough.
And what about seasons moving forward? Do you think that, like, what can they do to, I think you mentioned one thing, you know, is to have fans in there, but do you think there's anything else that production can do to ensure that we have like a good season? Like
I think maybe bringing on some new producers to help might be like bringing them in on payroll to run this show. I think would also be good, because like I said, they're letting this be kind of like a sellout of a show with all these sponsors and all these they've taken it away from what it is and what made it get to this point. It's not the same show anymore in some ways, and I want them to be more raw and real with us, because everyone knows what show they're tuning into. They're tuning into a bunch of different people with a ton of different stories all around the country and watching them Hunger Games. This is a Hunger Games thing. To me, in my opinion, it always has been. And there's going to be different strategies, and I love seeing what shakes loose throughout the season. Don't edit it down. Don't make me not be able to see things that you think aren't in line with what your sponsors want, because it's all about that. I understand the show almost got canceled. Good kudos to them for bringing in all this money to keep it going, because I would be much more upset with the show not existing because of no sponsors and money. But I think start making these contracts of, we still have creative control. We will feature your products, but this is our show. And I don't know how much of it is our show anymore with regards to the production.
And I would say that I need a little bit more diary room sessions. Yeah. I think there's not enough diary rooms, or not enough just people's opinions on certain like flip to like Carol apologizing and showing that little moment. I know that there's a lot that you have to put into an hour, but at the same time, I like with Arista telling. With things that were not seen and things were not seen, at least Julie explained with the knife held up to the throat in season 2. At least things were explained. Things were talked about if we were not seen. Like Chantal, we don't need you to explain it to us. We want the show to explain it to us.
Yeah.
People should not be messaging super fans that are doing a show like this. What happened?
I got messages too, and my friends know I didn't even watch the live feeds, but I still was getting messages about this too. But
and that's kind of one of the reasons why I watch the live feeds. Like, I've been watching the live feeds from the very beginning, so it is part of my Big Brother experience, not the television show. It's more like I used to watch The Real World, and so like I do just enjoy seeing people interact. And then obviously I'm super competitive, and I love the game aspect. So when that show kind of came up, I was like, oh my god, this is like my dream. Like, you get to be competitive and you get to have these social dynamics. So I always have watched the live feeds from season 2. I used to go on ICQ, get like a key, and like go and like unlock, like, I don't even know how I figured out how to do these. I was like 19 years old, like figuring out how to watch my love, Dr. Will, on the live feeds, you know? And so I need to watch the show in that way to see everything that's going on, and to be more informed. And so for me, the show is the actual show is just to get to the diary rooms. And so I agree with you. I'm like, I wish they would explain why people are acting this way. Like, they don't tell the full story. that I've seen so far, at least in this season anyways. Like, it's very, very, very apparent that they're not telling all the stories or the whole story. They've chosen, like, selectively what they want to show, but like they're probably showing about 10%, and there's like 75 that's not being shown, and then, or 75 that's on the live feeds, and like 20 that's not being shown at all.
It's the opposite of supersized.
It's small fried.
Yeah, one thing, back to my, like, just give your loyal viewers and the people who got you to this point what they want. I know you want to reach new fans and make this thing, but like, keep your fans into this show. Everyone I know that I talk about Big Brother, I try to cast for my own. I'm always doing Big Brother in my life, and I'm talking to people about it. They're like, "Oh, isn't that show where like everyone just has sex in the hot tub?" I've heard that as the elevator pitch for this show from so many strangers and friends alike who don't watch this. They know what they would be tuning into. Like, they're watching people have sex on camera and swear and yell at each other. You don't need to edit this out, because that's what people are watching this show to see. That's not why I watch. I want the competitions and that. But you're not doing anyone a favor by editing out real behaviors and real raw interactions and moments that are happening in this house, because they don't look good for your burger or dip or brand in any way. Like, start using robots if you want to just see people doing your competitions.
We did that already in that one season.
They'll make them all robots, and we'll just. This is.
Okay, so what do you? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
It's humans, and you're making it seem almost like the real Big Brother, where they'll like silence you and stop you and end you if you do anything that makes the whole project look bad or anyway. Like, just let him live.
And I wouldn't mind if it was a season of super fans
that are not going to quit, that know what is happening, and aren't going to be bamboozled by having to memorize days.
Try to make me quit. Try to make me quit.
Yeah.
Now, I'm knowing like the layout of the house and like who's been playing. We'll pretend that there's no evictions, no expulsions. Like, right at the beginning, who do you guys think you guys would align with, and what would your strategy kind of be? Knowing what you know now, but like without all those evictions and
stuff. I'd still align with Brooke and Sheldon.
Yeah.
I think that they're still a solid alliance. They're really great. But also I really like, but the evictors though, like, are like still kicking it. And like, if they bring in Min, they got this. So like, don't rule out Maddie at all. Maddie's actually probably in the best spot right now.
They kind of also worked on Sheldon when the veto ceremony was going to get used, and that, I mean, like, okay, I know you're both staying, let's make this deal. And I was like, even to you, Chantal, I was like, how much do you think of that is real? And it seemed like a legit thing. Like, okay, I'm out of power next week. This is before any of the expulsions. I'm out of power next week. You two girls, well, let's keep each other safe, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, the evictors are maybe they could find themselves in a better spot, especially if Carol quits. I don't know what happens with that. I don't want to know. But my one thing, I do really like Sheldon. I know he's on my team, so I'm biased, but just, I loved every interaction he had in his diary room. Is like, probably going to put you up. Yeah, you are in danger. No, okay. I don't think anyone care if you leave. Like, he is brutally honest to the point where he's a bit of a dick. And like, and that's, I think you have to be like that in some way, because people get more hurt when they think something's happening and you pull it out from under them. If you just rip the Band-Aid off and tell them, yeah, I'm your enemy, this and this, it's like, oh, I can't fault you for not being honest with me. And I think betrayal of honesty and trust is the biggest thing that makes people lose it, like Jamar kind of did. They called him out in front of the whole house. You've been played. I've been playing you. Yeah, I've been lying to you, like Vanessa saying that. That's embarrassing, as it is also hurtful to your game. It's also just embarrassing to feel like you've been lower than someone this whole season. So I like how Sheldon isn't really getting into a lot of that. He said, like, yeah, I've been keeping people in my back pocket until when I need them. That's how you play. He isn't lying to them up in their face, I don't find as much.
Wouldn't it be really interesting if these were like, we were actually the coaches for our team? Oh, oh my God, that'd be so fun.
It would be a full-time job with these.
I'd be like, JL, let's take it, buddy. Let's take it all the way to the end.
JL's a really good chance, I think, to getting to the end. Like, he's likable and like he's not super threatening. He seems to be competitive and still smart. Like, he's studied that whole Expedia room thing and he knows everything about all those arrivals and departures. So it'd be really interesting. I think that I would probably align with I probably would align with Min because she's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
Me, Min, and Maddie would probably be like a crazy girl trio, and I would want to send us out to the three different parts of the house. So yeah. Min would be kind of with the Hira Jamar. I would probably be with the with Sheldon and Brooke, and then Maddie would go with the evictors, and like I'd tentacle out that way and be working from the inside. That would probably be what I'd do.
But let's talk about the real star of the show, Angie. Isn't she?
First pick.
I picked her because I thought, this is why I picked her. She will get through these first 5 weeks of that.
Well, she certainly did.
Contest, throwing competitions, who cares? Let her be forgotten. I think Suzanne is doing the exact same thing, but Suzanne's doing it better.
I like Suzanne.
Suzanne's better.
Agreed. And I think Suzanne's not getting on people's nerves. I've heard that Angie's getting on people's nerves, but I didn't like how she got so baited by that HOH competition with Min.
I did. I thought that was hilarious.
No, I'm saying, like, as someone who's like, she's a super fan, she's so calculated, she knows this game so well. I'm like, don't you think that people are gonna do this to you? Like, just control your emotions. Like
that was like, I was like, oh, okay, I couldn't be in alliance with her.
You're not my target, Angie. You're not my target. Then why'd you No, Angie, you're not my target. I just didn't want you to get HOH.
I wanted you to be one of the have-nots because there was only one spot left, and the first 4 out were have-nots. Something like that. Like, Angie could have just like held her cool like Brooke did when she was told she was going on the block. Mm-hmm. She was like still kissing ass and like biting her tongue, and her emotions and ego didn't steer her mouth. And I think with Angie, she needs to learn to work on that. But I still think when all these pieces are crumbling in fragments, like Min and Vanessa, 2 big things, both just lost their guy in the house. Now they're maybe going to be picking up some pieces, and I don't know who Angie is going to be a piece for. I don't know yet, but I hope that her knowledge of the game will not go unrecognized, and they'll maybe bring her in. I don't know. What happens if she wins power? Who's going to Angie? I don't know. I think Hira maybe?
No. Yeah, Hira and Angie have been kind of chatting a little bit. I think that's, I don't know if they'll show it on the show, so it's already happened like last week that they kind of been talking about how they want to work together. So that's kind of an undercover little thing. That's the only person that I've seen Angie talk to, really, like really strategically, other than like listening to what the plan is and saying, yes, I agree, I'm going to go along with the plan. So maybe they'll become like a silent, like strong duo, like maybe given some power, and they can do some steering of their own.
Do you think at this point anyone is going to waste an HOH on getting out Min if they think everyone's going to do it? Like, think of like objectively without knowing what you know already.
I don't think
how to answer that.
I don't think that would be a waste of an HOH.
To get rid of Min?
Yeah.
I agree.
Person,
they think that.
Up until now that I've seen that's really, 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 really been gutting for Min, I think this is still from last week, is Suzanne. Suzanne has been saying like Min and she doesn't get along with Min. She thinks Min's targeting her and she wants to target Min back.
Wow. Well, I think it would be awesome to see like a JL, a Maddie, and a Sheldon final 3. That'd be cool. We each have one person from it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I don't know who would win with that one, but I'd say put the girl in there because, like, most likely there's gonna be more women in the jury. So, Maddie would have a really good chance if she gets to the final 2. She has really good social game in that sense.
Where are they gonna put this jury house?
I know. What's gonna happen?
Is it been like sprayed down like
Expedia room? They're all just crammed in the Expedia room, waiting.
like hand washing stations?
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of story left to be like written for this season, and I think there are a lot of people that I would be fine to see in the final two as of right now. So unless they just keep getting crappier in whatever way, I think there are people that I hope make it far in this game. I'm rooting for some, which means it's not a lost season.
No, yeah, it's not a lost season at all.
No.
It's so defeating during this week of our lives and what we're all going through and what the world is going through. And then you see the show just lose two people and we're all like, what the F?
Yeah.
I know who it is. It's my delivery.
Groceries, yay!
Delivery is here. Shoot, I forgot about that. I was like, who's calling me? Okay. Do we have anything else to say? I feel like we kind of buttoned it to here anyways.
I think we just got to keep watching and hopefully they dig out from what we just happened. It was a heavy week, and I hope we can start having some positivity from the show and watching those adorable moments, those intense moments that are more about Big Brother as opposed to outside world sponsory kind of mix-ups. I think I want to see the game.
All right, so that concludes our
quarantine edition, getting food delivered to your house during your home
by Nickel Line Distillery hand sanitizer. My name is Michael Pez. You can follow us at Realness with 3 S's on Instagram. You can subscribe down below. Keep giving us your feedback. Honestly, we love the fact that people are messaging us saying, when are you guys going to do another one? So we really appreciate the fact that people are tuning in and watching us. So you can follow me at Michael Pez and
at ShanFranFan or at Star Talent Coaching and
at Nick.Rovers. That is my full name. It's easy to remember.
Hey, this unprecedented week has come to a conclusion now, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Cheers.
I can't wait for a precedented week.
Thanks, Nick.